Hello, and welcome to our webinar, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us. We're excited to have Sean Heron, President of Regal Securities, present this webinar today on Gain an Edge during earnings season using OptionsPlay, which is our online trading strategy tool, which is free to all of our customers. Now, this webinar is for all levels of traders, whether you're a beginner or more advanced. Sean will walk you through how to get started and start taking advantage of plays you can do for earnings season. This is actually a good day to learn with all the market volatility today, and the Dow's up just over 200 points last I checked. My name is Gina Bocayas, and I'm with Regal Securities. And Regal is the parent company of eOption and its sister company InvestTrade. And just to provide you some basic logistical information as to how this webinar will work today, the session will last approximately 1 hour. And if you have any questions during the webinar presentation, please feel free to type them into the Q&A box on your screen, and our speaker will address those at the end of his presentation. We ask that you use the Q&A box and not the chat box, as our speaker will only see what's in that Q&A box. Also, you can reach out to eOption's trade desk at any time if you have additional questions after the webinar about using or setting up OptionsPlay. And you'll be able to access a recording of the webinar in the next few days on our website at eoption.com. And we'll also be emailing all attendees a copy of the recording in the next couple of days. We also encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you'll see all of our past videos on option trading there. And we also have a playlist with all of our OptionsPlay videos, so you can learn about all different types of option strategies you can use and option opportunities to find. And for those of you just joining, we'd like to welcome you to our webinar today on Gain an Edge during earnings season using OptionsPlay, which is our online strategy trading tool to help spotlight potential option trade opportunities. And for those of you that are current customers, you'll find the OptionsPlay tab after you log into your account. And for those of you that are new to us, you'll be able to find more tutorials on OptionsPlay on our website and, as I just said, on YouTube. And as our name implies, we are a firm that specializes in option and stock trading. Our founder was a founding member of the Chicago Board Options Exchange in the 70s, and he has been trading stocks and options for over 50 years. And he created his ideal trading company for those who have a passion for trading like himself. And just to tell you briefly about eOption, we charge some of the lowest rates in the industry. All stock and ETF trades are commission free, and options are just 10 cents per contract plus $1.99 per trade. We also offer a powerful trading platform, mobile app, free trading tools, auto trading, and live expert support on our trade desk. And OptionsPlay is normally $500 annually if you're subscribed to it on its own, but we do offer it free to all of our customers. We encourage you to check out eoption.com, which has many resources to assist you in your options trading. We also support option education, and we're glad you can join our webinar today to learn more about using options to spot opportunities during earnings season. And I'd like to turn our attention to our speaker now, Sean Heron, and tell you a little bit about him. Sean is currently president of Regal Securities. He's an experienced options and equity trader with over 20 years of industry experience. He's been using the OptionsPlay tool himself at eOption for several years now, and will provide an expert's view as he walks traders of all levels on how to use its features to set up an option trade and spot opportunities, how to play this earnings season. After receiving a bachelor's degree from Illinois State University in 1992, he began his career in the financial services industry as a limited partnership trader with Chicago Partnership Board. Sean joined Regal Securities in April of '98, and over the years has worked in nearly every department of the firm. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Sean. Thank you.
Thanks, Gina. Appreciate the introduction there. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being with us here today. It's kind of a crazy day in the markets. Appears the market likes what's going on here with the new president coming on board. So today, just to take care of some housekeeping items. Topic today, gain an edge during earnings season using OptionsPlay. I need to just quickly review disclosure. Options may carry a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Certain requirements must be met to trade options through any division of Regal Securities. please read the options disclosure document titled Characteristics and Risks of Standardized Options before considering any option transaction. A copy of this may be requested from us at support@regalsecurities.com or by mail here where we're located at 950 Milwaukee Avenue, Suite 102, Glenview, Illinois. A complete copy and its supplements can be found online at theocc.com. This webinar is for educational purposes only and should not be considered securities recommendations or trading advice by Regal Securities. Maximize your trading potential. As Gina said, our rates $0 for stock and ETF trades, and our option rate is $1.99 plus 10 cents a contract for options. OptionsPlay is free for all accounts. As Gina said, a $500 value, and a powerful trading platform to easily enter your options and stock trades, fully customizable, including real-time quotes, charts, and news. No hidden fees, volume requirements, or account minimums. Okay, so let's get started here. All right, so as many of you are familiar, this is our desktop trading platform, and we also have a great mobile app. If you've had a chance to take a look at that or download that, I'd encourage you to use that. I personally use it on a daily basis. But on a desktop, certainly the the desktop platform is going to have a little more functionality. And so what I'm going to do, somebody asked a question, is this beginners or more advanced? So I'm going to start the webinar just kind of going through some platform basics, and then I'll get into more advanced items and try to tailor this around earnings season. So as we all know, we're kicked off earnings season here, and there's just a huge amount of earnings announced in the next couple of weeks. So now, as I said, I'll go through a few basics on the platform, and then we'll get into the earnings and options play as well. So if you're not familiar, our desktop platform is completely customizable based on widgets. So you go over here on the right, you can see all of the widgets that are available. You can set up your own screens with as many widgets as you like. I would probably say 3 is the maximum I would want to put into one particular screen. This is my setup. I've got my watch list on my first screen that comes up. And with regard to the watch list, if you go down to the bottom left, there's a change column feature. So these are the columns that I personally have set up, description, price, bid, ask, change percent. You can put in the open, day high, low, 52-week high, low, volume, timestamp as well. So there's different features. You can also move these columns around, so you can fully customize this how you like it. I also have a chart screen set up. As many of you know, there's different ways you can set up your charts, lots of indicators. And so I like to look at the MACD as well as the moving averages, the 50 and the 200 there. So what we're looking at here is Apple. As you can see, it's trading above its 50-day moving average since about, what do we got here, November. Also, if you hover over a candlestick, it'll show you the numbers for that particular day. And so I've got my chart, I've got my option chains, and the option chains, as many of you know, is just a mountain, a ton of information in here. It can be overwhelming at times, especially if you're looking at a SPY or something that has, strikes every dollar. Here's Apple, it has strikes every dollar. Probably a product of the split that they did earlier in the year. So, and to ease it a little bit, if you're not familiar, you can change the amount of strikes you're looking at by this strike range drop down. And what it will do is give you the strikes that are, in this particular case, 10 that are in the money and 10 that are out of the money for both puts on the right, calls on the left. And I have mine set up. You can also change these columns around. So I have mine set up where I see the open interest, the volume for today, high, low, change, and the bid ask. Positions, orders, as many of you know, I have mine set up this way where positions on tops and the orders that I've entered. This is a live account of mine that we're looking at here. And then, just so you know, just real quick, additional services, so everyone knows, this is where you come. We've got a recent realized P&L product that we've built out custom for our customers. You can take a look and look at your P&L for different time frames or particular positions. You can look at your account profile. If you want to update your information, you can do that in there. You can set up ACHs, cash management. You can set up wires, check requests, get your statements and confirms. And for the coming tax season, just so everybody knows, we're expecting 1099s to be released around February 11th, and we'll keep you up to date on that. If you subscribe to a newsletter and you wish for us to auto trade, you can manage that and set it up within here. And so there's a lot of tools and different features you can use in the additional services to manage your account. Okay, so moving on. The topic today we wanted to talk about, timely, is earnings. And so ways that you can filter out and dig deeper, and maybe you have some ideas already on stocks you like and what they might do with the upcoming earnings season. And in light of the past year, there's been a lot of volatility. Options, typically you'll see the volatility go up, which means the premiums will be a little richer around this time, which can help if you're looking for income strategies and generating income from maybe a long position, or maybe you just want to speculate with puts or calls in terms of directional. We'll go over that, as well as different spreads that you can play with options around earnings season. So moving on to that, so one other feature I'd like to bring your attention to is our daily outlook. So if you get these emails, you'll see some of this via email on a daily basis. What we do is we provide timely daily content about what's going on in the market. So each day you can log in here. This is fresh. It's uploaded multiple times per day. Around probably about 6:37 Central, you'll get the early look, which is going to go through what the futures are doing at that point in time. It'll give you some news of the day. Like today, Netflix had earnings that seem to be positive, and they're in the news. And then it goes into a little bit about Joe Biden presidency, and then down below it'll tell you what happened yesterday. And then also an events calendar for today. So these are the events, the economic events going on, and then also the earnings calendar for today. And this is all interactive. So if you click on these and you have your tabs set up, it will transfer this data to your charts as well as your research content, or however you like it. And then macros, and then it breaks down into some sector news. So this comes out every day. Around 10:30 Central, you'll get the mid-morning look as well, kind of what's happened since the open, sector movers, stock gainers, laggards, syndicate, which is like IPOs and new issues. And then at the end of the day, after the close, you'll get the closing recap, and it will go through additional information there. So two things that I kind of want to bring your attention to that'll be timely in terms of earnings season are the street recommendations. This is not something we email out. It's only available here behind the login in the platform on the Daily Outlook. And so this is every day we get these lists of what the big banks and brokerage firms are recommending. They come out with upgrades, downgrades, buy, sell, research notes, what have you. So it goes through each bank or brokerage firm that we have access to. and it tells you, this is really timely. So if the stock's moving and you may not see news, come here. You'll be able to identify possibly if maybe a stock got an upgrade. You'll see today, for instance, with, after Netflix's earnings, there's a lot of comments on Netflix. So I personally love looking at this every day. It gives you trade ideas and various information of what's going on out there. So as you can see today, Microsoft is in the news as well. I thought I saw a note. There's a lot of Netflix comments. Thought I saw one on Microsoft. That might have been yesterday. So anyway, it's good information, and like I said, I use that on a daily basis. So another thing you want to watch around this time of year is the weekly calendar. This comes out on Fridays, and it's going to tell you everything that's going to happen the next week. The economic calendar, the earnings, other key events, if Fed governor is speaking, things like that. So we can come in here, we can look today, Wednesday, Jan 20th, we've got, looks like a few different earnings are coming out. United Airlines, these are the companies coming out tomorrow. It's a number of them. And then Friday, usually, you won't see earnings after the close on Friday. It's the end of the week. So this Friday, we'll be coming out with a new one. It's going to have a ton of earnings reports next week. I think next week is definitely one of the biggest weeks of the year. Somewhere else you can use, I've got up here, Yahoo Finance has an earnings calendar as well, and they have the full calendar. So what I'm looking at here is next Monday, and these are all the companies as well as the earnings estimate that they're roughly estimated to earn during the fourth quarter of 2020. All right, so we've identified, kind of who's coming out with earnings on what day, what the earnings are estimated to be. Everyone has kind of their own personal feelings and maybe doing your own research, and you have a kind of a direction that you think things might go. Going to the option chains again, there's a lot to sift through in terms of earning or options and different ways to play it. So what we provide to you is this tool, OptionsPlay. And what I want to do today is kind of go through that and how you can use, those companies that are coming out with earnings to identify different ways to trade that based on your feelings of bullish or bearish. And so what I've done here today, so what you're looking at here is OptionsPlay. There's 3 panels. What I'd like to call, the left is the idea generator. The middle is the why, and the right is the how. How do we play those that we derive from this tool? So OptionsPlay, we've said several times, it's free to all users, and it's fully integrated with our trading tickets. So if you find a trade idea in here, you like it, you'd like to pull the trigger, you can do that. You don't have to go back to the chains and find the options. You can do it right from here. It'll pre-populate the order ticket, and I'll go through that here in a few minutes. Okay, so what I've done, we'll go through the left side first. You can do a number of different things here. So you've got, OptionsPlay has their own scanners, so they're going to come out with the trade ideas, and that's based on their own scans. And so if you're bullish, it will show you the ones that fall into your category. You can also break it down by different sectors and different scans, and by the capitalization of the company. That's always good. Maybe find something new for your watch list to throw up there. What I did here for today is I created a watch list of companies that have earnings within the next several days. I created the watch list. You can do that by adding a watch list, and then just entering whatever companies you want in there. So I created one and I titled it Q1 2021 earnings. And these are all the companies that are coming out. I have it written down here, I believe between now and Jan 27th. So what you see here is certainly the stock price, the name, the symbol, there's a score, and what that score is relative strength over the past month. And that's based on the moving averages. And so, you know, we can click on Starbucks. They have earnings on the 26th. They have a 1-month trend that's bullish and a 6-month trend that's bullish. It's up $3 today. The score is 7. And then, you know, you can, like I said, you can create your own watch lists here, whatever stocks you're interested in. I saw somebody had mentioned something about Tesla. So I have Tesla in here, and believe it or not, it has a score of 10. I'm sure most people are aware Tesla has gone up substantially in the past year. So let's look at Tesla as an example. So it's got a score of 10, and we move on to the middle section, which is the the why, and why does it have the 10? So we can look at it and we can see that the trend is up for the first 1 month, 6 month. Here's the range of the year. $70 low, split adjusted, and 884 is the high. Gives you the volume today, and current PE with the beta. And so also of note is down at the bottom is redundant. It's going to tell you, okay, the earnings date is Jan 27th and PM, meaning it's after the market, and Tesla does not pay a dividend. And then it gives you a little blurb in terms of what's going on. It's in a bullish trend with resistance at 884, which would be a new high. Should find resistance at that level. So down here also it's going to tell you, you know, support and resistance. So there's 2 different levels of support, and those are the lines that you see on the chart there. And then the resistance is going to be that all-time high. If it breaks out there, you should see new levels inputted here. So Tesla is an expensive stock, and you know, how can we play this? You know, as it says over here on the right side, this is the how. How do we play it? Okay, I can buy 100 shares of Tesla, and that's going to cost me $85,000. And you know, the stock is near an all-time high. You know, that's a lot to put up, certainly for 100 shares. So maybe I'm bullish and I would like to play Tesla, but I don't want to risk that much money, especially if the resistance is 700 or 600. And if it pulls back, goes to 700, my 85,000 becomes 70,000. I'm down 15. So there's 3 ways we can play it, and this is what the 3 panels over here, the trade panels, review. We can buy the 100 shares. It gets a score of 83. I can buy 1 March monthly call at 850, which would cost us approximately $10,200. So those, you know, pretty much at the money options, you're buying time of about 2 months, is going to cost you about $100 in premium. That's rich. And so that gets a score of 68. And we could also do something which is called a vertical call spread. And this is, so it's saying buy the 850 and sell the 1090. So you're creating a spread with $240 difference in there. And this would cost you $6,900. So you're probably wondering, what's the score underneath? Okay, that's a risk-reward score. And so it's going to say, okay, in terms of what I'm risking and my potential reward, the vertical call spread is going to get me the most bang for my buck. And so how do I know that? We go down below and we see, okay, this is the P&L simulator, as it states. And it's simulating if the stock goes to roughly 1090 by March 19th, 3rd Friday in March. And so if that happens, if I bought the stock, I would, get a 27% return on my roughly 85,000. If I bought the call, the long call at 850, which is a lot of premium to pay for just a long position, and it does achieve that price goal of 1089, I would make 134% on my money. But if I come over here to the spread, where I'm buying the 850 and selling the 1090, I'm risking 6,900 to control 100 shares between those levels. And my potential profit is 17,000, which is a 247% return. So you can see where the score comes from. Purely risk-reward score in that sense. And so clearly you can see the different strategies and what you're looking at. Now with earnings coming next week, the premiums are also pumped up a little bit. There's big news coming. Is it going to be bullish or bearish? So just so you know, in terms of how to play with OptionsPlay, how to tinker with it, you can adjust these prices in here. So if you don't think it's going to 1090, you can bring that down. Maybe you think it's going to go to 1,000, just crack the 1,000 and pull back. This is what you're looking at as well. So if it goes to say 1011, these are the returns you're looking at. Still not a bad return. Also, you can change the expiration dates if you like, different strikes, different dates that expire, and then you can play with the implied volatility as well. Moving on to that, you say it's a little complex. Okay, here's the plain English in terms of what these strategies are looking to do. So you'll see on the right, the spread, it's a bullish strategy with limited risk of 6,900 and limited potential reward. So just being long a call, technically it's unlimited potential for reward, although the stock's not going to go to infinity, we all know. So, basically it's saying this strategy will profit if the stock closes above 919. So that's basically what that's saying is you're buying the 850 strike and you're paying 6,900. So it's 850 plus the 6,900. Above that, you're profitable. And it gives you a probability that will happen as well. Moving on, you've got, this is a risk and investment calculator. So you say, okay, well, I kind of like that. Let me go in there and you can say, I want to invest or I want to risk. And you can calculate how much you're looking to trade there. And then the last one is kind of a chart here where you can play with the ranges of where, the range of where the stock could go, and this coincides with the support levels that we saw earlier. So they're doing a downside of 599, roughly 600, and the upside of 1089. You can move these, this is interactive, and you can move these bars up down here at the bottom. You can move them in or out if you like. And then, so there's different ways to play this, as we all know. These are pretty standard option strategies and ways that people like to make a bullish or bearish call. If you want to get a little more complex, you can come into here where you edit the legs. And so say you're still bullish, this will review all of the different types of strategies with options that you can use to play that stock. And so if you're interested more in put verticals or collars, diagonals, iron butterflies, things like that, you can modify that and go in there. So going back to what I mentioned earlier, where I can trade this right from the OptionsPlay tool. So let's say, I like this one that it came up with, the 850 to 1090, and I want to trade that. I just click the trade button, and what it's going to do is it's going to come up with what you're looking to do. We're going to buy to open one of the 850, and we're going to sell to open one of the 1090. So it also has this feature, strategy checklist. just to check it out before you enter the order, it's saying, okay, you're entering a bullish position, and it's trending bullish. The market trend is bullish as well. S&P hit a new high today. OptionsPlay score of 116. It does give you a warning, earnings. Be aware that there is earnings next week. And then spread liquidity. Liquidity is good. So with options, as many of you know, the spreads or they'll trade. The more liquid the option is, the tighter the bid ask will be. So you'll see some options that have pretty wide bid ask, and it's just as a result of volume and open interest. So that's the preview of the order. I can close that down and just click preview order, and then it brings up the order ticket, which you can go ahead and enter. And it's 68.70, 69.60. That's a fairly tight spread on this particular spread, and so typically when I trade spreads a lot, I like this type of spread, the vertical call spread, and what I would say is typically I try to go in towards the bottom side of this to the middle. I don't think I've ever really paid the ask on a spread. I always want to get it a little cheaper than what they're saying here, and the fluctuations in the stock, you'll see typically you can get a fill in between the bid ask. Okay, moving on. So that's a bullish stock. Let's take a look at a not so bullish stock, KimberlyClark. Maybe you want to play the downside, not the upside. Play the puts. So KimberlyClark has earnings on the 25th. It's got a score of 8, and it says it's in a downtrend. Well, we can see that pretty clearly on the chart. The technical score of 1 is very weak. The 6 and 1 month trend is bearish. They've got earnings Jan 25th in the morning before the market opens. Does have a quarterly dividend to keep in mind. And so I'm saying, yeah, this is not looking so great. Maybe coming out of the COVID situation, this will be a play to the downside. So I'm going to click down here. I'm bearish on this one. And so what it gives me is the alternative to what we looked at on Tesla earlier is the downside. So the first one is sell short 100 shares of this stock, and that would, on shorting, you bring in the money and then later have to buy it back at hopefully a lower price. Or you could just go long one $135 put trade, and that would be for March 19th as well. 770, this stock doesn't move as much, so it's definitely got less premium than we saw in the Tesla. Or I could do a put vertical spread, buy the long 135 put and sell the 120. And so as you can see, that's going to cost me $610. If it achieves my goal of trading below 120 come the third Friday in March, I'm looking at about $145 return. Okay, so what we've reviewed here is the trade function of OptionsPlay. What I'd like to go over as well is the income. So there's right here at the top of the right panel is income. So as opposed to trading it for a short-term trade like this is suggested, you could go to income. And with the income, what it's going to do is, so say maybe you're long KimberlyClark, or you think it's kind of bottomed out. There's different ways to play that. And so what we'll look at here is actually, I'll choose a different stock. Let's take a look at DraftKings, popular stock these days. So maybe I'm long some DraftKings. I bought it earlier in the year when it was at 17 or wherever, 18, 20, 30, it went up, and now it's sitting at $53. if you come back to the daily outlook, you'll see on one of the street recommendations today, there's a research note on DraftKings. Let me locate it in here. Oh, there it is. So Morgan Stanley today upgraded DraftKings from equal weight to overweight with a $60 price target, and they're saying bull case scenario, 179. And then they give a comment on it, and they adjusted their revenue figures upwards. So you say, it's interesting. Maybe I want to do a little bullish call there, or maybe I'm long and I want to generate some income. So we come back to OptionsPlay, and so from the income side, you can do the same thing. You got your DraftKings in there. You can say I'm bullish, and it's going to give you two suggestions. So you could sell the Feb 12th covered call, which is prior to earnings. It's showing here the earnings is going to be March 11th. So we know that news isn't coming out. And $62 covered call, so I'm long 53, and I can sell a 62, and you're going to bring in $88 on that. Or you could say, well, I'm interested in DraftKings, but 52, 53 is a little rich. I want to potentially buy this at a lower price if it pulls back, but generate some income in the meantime. And so what you can do is you can sell a put. So basically you're cash covered or naked, sometimes they call it, a put. So you're just selling the put. There is a margin requirement on that, which is generally 20% of the underlying plus premium minus out of the money amount. And so you've got that there. You could say, okay, well, I would love to buy DraftKings at 42, and you know what? If it does get there, I'll buy it. But in the meantime, I'll bring in some money in terms of income by selling this put. And so at the bottom, you'll see it just gives you a plain English explanation of what you're looking to achieve, and that's another strategy you can use in terms of playing earnings or just in general in terms of stocks that you're interested in. So going back to the trade screen, one potential way to play stocks as well during earnings season, because there's a lot of premium, you can sometimes see stocks that will go up into earnings and sometimes sell off on the news. And so you can also play that. So for instance, if you go long a particular call, maybe you feel that, this stock will rally into the news, you could go long a call, and as long as you're approved for spreads, you could later sell a call against it. So what we're looking here, like I said, this is my own account, and this is just kind of a play option account. So I can show you here, for instance, Google. I was looking to play Google into earnings, and yesterday I was kind of pulling back, and I felt that with the news of Biden coming on tomorrow or today, and then earnings are coming the 1st of February, that if I buy a call that expires at the end of next week, maybe I would catch that momentum into earnings, but not actually the earnings news. So just to show you a real life example, I bought this call yesterday, the 1750, caught it when it was pretty much the low of the day, so I bought it at $27. And the stock rallied yesterday, and then it's really rallying today. Right now it's at, broke out to a new high, $1,900. And so today, what I wanted to do is, I just went long overnight that one, but it went up quite a bit, so I decided to kind of hedge myself by selling a call against it. I didn't do it at the same time. You can do it later as long as you're approved for spreads. So in this case, I bought it at 27 for the 1750, And this morning on the open, I sold the 1800 for 51. So I've locked in roughly 100% gain there, and then I still have a 50-point spread that expires next week. So there's different ways to play momentum and earnings, and as long as you're approved and you have the equity, you don't always have to create the spread all at once. You can maybe catch a momentum and sell it later, or maybe the call goes against you and it goes down, and maybe you want to hedge a little bit and sell a call just to reduce your risk. You can do that later. It doesn't always have to be the same day. So that's where we're at. OptionsPlay is a great tool. Using the other tools that we have, you can identify stocks that you're interested in, when their earnings are, what the earnings are expected to be, check what the research notes are, and then plug it into OptionsPlay and identify things relatively quickly without having to sift through just tons of different option strikes. Going back to the option chain, you do spend some time in there. Just so everybody knows, there's different things you can do with the option chains. Now, say you're interested in Apple. Apple has earnings next week, and if you're long a particular strike, say I'm long, this is for this week. I want to drop that down. I want to go to the 29th for next week. Say I'm long the 130, you can add these options to your stock watch list. All you need to do is click this little box. It'll say B, but you're not buying it. And then down at the bottom, add to watch list. And then it's going to bring up which watch list do I want to add it to. So I'm going to add it to my IT and click add. And that option is now added with my stocks in my watch list. Also, if you're looking to create a spread from the option chain, just so everybody knows, it's really quick to do a spread in the option chain. For instance, today I put on a 125 to 133 Apple spread to play earnings next week. You click once to get a buy there, twice to get a sell, and then just go to trade. And it's going to bring up that option spread right there. I can see it's 475 to 495. I can change this, put a limit of 450. I pay 450 if it comes down. And then also you can modify these prices within the option ticket as well. So that's a quicker way to get spreads as well if you're not using the OptionsPlay tool. Coming back to my watch list, you'll see at the top is that option that I added to my watch list. So say this option expires and I don't want to see it on my watch list anymore. I just come over here, hover on the very right side, and click the X, and it will delete that option from my watch list. Okay, great. We're about 45 minutes into it. Covered a fair amount here, certainly. I'd like to open it up for questions. I see we have some waiting. I'll try to answer your questions as best as possible. Paul asks if we should buy Tesla calls. Unfortunately, I can't tell you yes or no to that. We don't give advice. In terms of Jose asked a question. He says, if I only know a little bit about options, how can I learn it? It seems the webinar is only about how to use the platform. Well, certainly, learning about options, you need to know how to work the platform as well and identify what you're looking at and see what it is that you're interested in and how to achieve what you're looking for. So how do you want to learn about it? Well, as Gia had mentioned earlier, we have a number of webinars and recordings on our YouTube channel, so you can go there, as well as we have a number of items on our website, the eOption.com website. You can go there, and it goes through all the different strategies. Would also recommend the OCC. So OCC stands for Options Clearing Corporation. They clear all of the options that trade on the various exchanges. and they have a lot of information on their website. So, you want to start with the basics. As a beginner, and, with us, there are different levels of option approval that we have. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 is covered calls. So if you're a beginner, you have some experience with stocks, you can get approved for covered calls. And then from there, once you get some experience there, the next step up is long options. And then the next step up from there is spreads. And then the next step from there is more naked, uncovered types of calls, which can come with a pretty hefty margin requirement. Moving on, Paul had another question. Would you exit the Tesla 1090 put and 850 call at the same time? I think what you mean is that spread. That spread that it suggested, buying the 850 and selling the 1090. Yes, absolutely. I would close those out at the same time as a spread. You don't want to get caught with the wild swings of this market. You want to get out of that as one net credit. You want to put your price in there. So both of those will lose premium as we get closer to March. They have tons of premium right now, just due to what Tesla has done recently. So yes, I would recommend that if you're doing a spread on a high volatility stock like Tesla, exit the spread as a spread and don't leg out of it. I've seen people get caught on different sides of that, and it can really work against you. Okay, moving on. Got another question. Misty has a question. When you do an option play and the stock reaches your strike price to sell, does that execute automatically, or do you have to manually sell the stock? So a couple things here. So in the scenario of the Tesla spread that we used as an example earlier, you would need to enter an order, yes. So you're still going to be in the option, up until that time. You won't be in the stock unless you got assigned on the short side. So that would likely only happen is if Tesla went into the 1100s and you're deep in the money. Someone, exercises the call they bought where you're short, and you get assigned. Now, in that scenario, we'd automatically exercise the call, and you would get the difference between those. That's best case scenario. You get the full difference between the 850 and the 1090. Now, let's use an example on Tesla. 1090 is the price, but your spread expires on the third Friday in March. So let's say, hypothetically, March 1st, Tesla's at 1100. Well, you're totally in the money, but you're not going to get that full 240 because there's still premium in those options. You'll get probably something in the high 100s would be my guess. But to answer your question in terms of do you need to close it out or it'll happen automatically, I would suggest closing it out. Now, if it's deep in the money come third Friday in March, then technically you don't have to do anything, and what will happen is it'll exercise and assign that weekend, and you will get the full difference minus small commission or exercise assignment fee. There is some risk to it, though. We've seen, people who have spreads, and it's Friday, and the stock is really close to your price. Well, that's a risky proposition because the stock can move up on news after hours. Granted, Fridays, typically there's not much news, but you never know. And so I would say if you're near the money on a spread, to close it out as opposed to letting it go into expiration, just for the risk that something could happen that would alter that. And Sam, sure. Another question, Dale, can I buy mutual funds on your site? If so, what fees are involved? Our mutual fund fee, $5. and it's not built into the site at this point in time. You can trade all ETFs, which are similar to mutual funds. They're zero commission. We are building the mutual funds into the site, and it should be something coming up in the near future. Okay, a couple more here. Somebody asked, can you go over quickly how to build a watch list on OptionsPlay? Yeah, let's take a look at that. So OptionsPlay, I want to go over to, you click on watch list at the top, and what I want to do is, that's it. So basically what you want to do is click menu, and it says new watch list, and then at the top I'm going to put in whatever I want to call it, you know, quarter one earnings, you know, number 2. Click enter, and then just go down to this box and add whatever stocks you want to throw in. So that's how you do it. So there's different features, trade ideas, and watch list. Sam has a good question. Do you have a mock trading platform? Sam, yes, we do. You can go to our website. It says paper trading. Sign up there. They give you like $1 million or something close to it to paper trade with. I will let you know that we don't have OptionsPlay built into the paper trading site. It's only for live account features. Okay, last question. Bijou says, you mentioned you don't look at the ask price when you preview the order. Sometimes the price doesn't show the actual price till you place the order. What's the best way to get the more accurate price? I'm not real sure what you mean by the actual price doesn't show until you place the order. I mean, certainly the price won't show until, like, what you get executed at won't show until you see the fill. But what I meant was when I was looking at the spreads, so I come back in here to this this DraftKings, just for example, this DraftKings vertical call spread, the 50 to 65. Underneath right here on the market bid and ask. So that's telling you the max, the low on the bid, and combining the two options together for the spread is, you know, the max you'd want to pay is 532. One thing I would say is I would not recommend entering market orders on spreads because there's typically a bigger bid ask, and it's hard to say what kind of a price you'll get. What I said is typically what I would do is go in between. So in this particular case, the bid ask on this spread, a 50 to 65 for March is 513 to 532. I'd probably try to go in around 520, see if they fill my order for a few minutes. If not, you could bump it up a couple pennies. But yeah, I mean, I would stick with limit orders here personally. You know, everybody has their own preference. You know, that's kind of how I would play that. And, but you should see these prices when you come in and look at spreads. And these are streaming real-time quotes, and you can always go in and modify an order in your positions and orders. So if the order is still open, it'll show here, and you can come over here to this little circle button. This order is filled, so it won't work. But if you click the circle button, it's a go around. Okay, well, I think that's about the time we have. A couple other comments I'll take a look at real quick. What is cost of eOption account? There is no cost. Just open an account. You can do that entirely online, and deposit funds via ACH, check, wire, and you're ready to go. Let me see if there's any more. Somebody's asking how the system proposes specific suggestions on a given stock based on what. So what it does is it takes you know, they do have the internal scans. OptionsPlay is a third-party company. They have internal scans based on relative strength, and it's a technical basis that they generate their ideas from. You can also toy with the expiration dates, but pretty standard, you're going to see the same three, which is long stock, long call, vertical call spread if you're bullish, or short stock, long put, vertical put spread if you're bearish. Okay, great. Well, I want to thank everybody for taking your time out of your day, and we appreciate you having you here. I'm going to turn it over to Gina to wrap things up. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. My name's Sean. I'm the only Sean here, and you're welcome to ask for me. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Sean. That was very interesting and informative, and we hope it gave our attendees some good insight on how to find opportunities during the highly volatile earnings season. As I stated in the beginning, we will have a video recording available later this week of the webinar, and that will be available on our website at eoption.com as well as YouTube. And we will also be emailing it to each attendee of the webinar so you can watch it again at your leisure. And so we encourage you to visit eoption.com. As Sean mentioned, you'll find more education, videos. We have clickable strategy links. We have our upcoming webinars on there. And we also have a free options trading guidebook. So it's lots of information, and we hope you'll go there and check it out. And we hope you'll take advantage of our low rates that you'll get when you use OptionsPlay. So it's just $0 for stocks and ETFs, as Sean mentioned, and our options are just 10 cents per trade, per contract, plus $1.99 per trade. So extremely low rates for options as well. And everyone who has an account gets OptionsPlay for free. It's normally $500 annually. And if you do have any questions about OptionsPlay or setting up OptionsPlay, one of the great things about our company is that we do have a live trading desk. So you can talk to someone whenever you want. And that phone number is 888-793-5333. Again, 888-793-5333. So that's a great resource. And then, as Sean mentioned and it says on the screen, we hope that you'll check out our YouTube channel. We just completely revamped it, and we have all kinds of new playlists on there. You will see one for OptionsPlay, so it goes through all kinds of different strategies, whether you're a beginner or more advanced. So you can choose what you'd like to learn, if it's covered calls, trading earnings, there's all kinds of strategies you can use with OptionsPlay. We also have in there in detail how to use our trading platform as well, if you want to get more into detail on that. And we have all kinds of option strategies, spreads. So there's a lot you can get into on there. And then the last point on the screen is we hope you can join us for our next webinar on Wednesday, February 10th at 1 p.m. Central Time. It's called Enter the Options Trading Ring with a Knockout Trading Plan. And you'll see the sign up link there. And we have a professional trader who has over 30 years of trading experience. And he's going to talk about simple calls and puts, but then he'll get into more advanced strategies such as vertical spreads and debit and credit spread combinations. So we hope you'll be able to join us for that. And so again, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. And please be safe. And we hope to see you at the next webinar on February 10th. Bye now.